Sadhya Bhakti refers to from the stage of bhava onwards. Means bhava and prema. This Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nasochati Nakanshati, this idea of being established on the Brahma Bhuta platform refers to this verse in Bhagavad Gita, other verse where he says, Yesham. What is it? What is it? Anyway, Sagunan Samatitaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Transcending the modes of material nature and coming to the level of Brahman. But Prabhupada establishes in one of his purports that Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate refers to the Bhava platform. Bhava platform, which means that one isn't established above the influence of material nature until he comes to the Bhava platform. From the Bhava platform, their real spontaneous devotional service begins, and this is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, where he says that actually real devotional service doesn't begin until one comes to the platform of spontaneous devotional service. Spontaneous devotional service means sadhya bhakti, not sadhana bhakti.
Yeah, no,
Raganuga,
right.
Raganuga is part of the sadhana.
Raganuga is part of sadhana.
Is sadhana, not sadhya. In Chaitanya, and this is a common misunderstanding that's been propagated.
I'm trying to remember Chaitanya Shikshamrita there, because it goes into the progression, and I don't remember that. My remembrance from that is that okay, sadhana ends with what is it, bhava? Sadhana ends with bhava.
No, bhava is the beginning of the stage of sadhya bhakti.
Okay.
So
sadhana only takes you so far.
In sadhana bhakti, you can, if you study. See, the problem is that I can show you. I mean, it would take maybe some in-depth discussion about it, but I can show you where in Prabhupada's Nectar devotion there are in one chapter 6 serious mistakes, which I don't blame it on Srila Prabhupada. I can probably blame it on Nitai, who was the editor, etc., and translator actually of the work. But whether Srila Prabhupada read it or not, I don't know. Whether he went through it and actually, because it seems like he would have caught the mistakes. But where in the spontaneous devotional service chapter, instead of using the word which is the actual word used by Rupa Goswami, Ragatmika, the word Raganuga has been used, which has created complete confusion amongst the vast number of devotees in our society who think that Raganuga is something which happens after you've already gone, to the Bhoma Leelas of Krishna, and you're following in the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna as, a cowherd boy trainee, in the Bhoma Leelas or something. They have this conception of that is what Raganuga is all about, but it's totally wrong.
That's my conception. That's what my conception is.
Yeah, so I mean, that conception has to change in order for you to...
Okay, the word is wrong. It's Ragatmika.
It's Ragatmika. Raga Atmika. Those eternal associates of Krishna, and those who are sadhan siddhas or kripa siddhas who come to the perfectional platform of becoming eternal associates of Krishna. Means that they're eternally perfect now, but they're not that they were Sarup Shakti, Nitya Siddhas, Sarup Shakti manifestations, but they're elevated to the same status.
Yeah.
They are Ragatmika, whereas Raganuga refers to if you study carefully, Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita gets it right. But in Nectar of Devotion, which was read long before, so like first impressions or lasting impressions, so you may not get beyond the confusion because you're still harboring
you don't catch it.
Misconception, and you don't catch it. Yeah. So but in Nectar of Devotion, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, in his description of the process of sadhana bhakti, he describes that there are two margs. It's not two levels, there are two paths of sadhana bhakti. One is Vaidhi sadhana marg, and the other is Raganuga sadhana marg. They're both sadhana bhaktis, and they both begin from Shraddha. There's Adal Shraddha, but there's one type of Shraddha engenders Vaidhi sadhana, and the other type of Shraddha engenders, there's what is called Shastra Vishvasmaya Shraddha. Vishvas means faith in the Shastras, faith in the instructions or the injunctions or the ordinances in the Shastras. Do's and don'ts, prohibitions, so, or fear is fear-based devotion based on, let's say, the determination to adhere to Shastric injunctions in order to avoid repercussions by committing offenses, etc. That is Vaidhi sadhana marg. And then there's Rag sadhana marg. What does Rag mean? Rag means basically attraction. So actually Srila Prabhupada didn't come to give Vaidhi bhakti. He came to give Rag bhakti. But he, in order to, and this is described in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, you should read very carefully, that the purpose of vidhi, or rule, is, the institution of vidhi, is to, let's say, curtail one's inordinate rag, or attraction, for mundane rasas. So the vidhi is simply there to at least kind of like bring you, or force you, by the force of rule, you're forced to give up your attachment to mundane rasas, so that you stand a fighting chance, by the influence of Rasik Vaishnavas or Rag Bhaktas, they can help you to become acquainted with Krishna, who is all attractive. And then when you become attracted to Krishna Leela, etc., then vidhi has already served its purpose and it no longer is relevant. Then, but there's a transitional stage where there's different degrees of the necessity for the influence of vidhi, and the necessity and the, let's say, the influence of attraction. So, but it's very clear that there's two margs. One marg is based on Shastra Vishvas Maya Shraddha. The other marg is based on Lobha Maya Shraddha. Lobha means greed, and greed is based on attraction. So it depends on what kind of association you have. If you're associating, and it depends on the receptivity based on previous accumulation of Bhakti-Mukhi Sukriti from previous lifetimes, which is based on the types of association that you get or that you had in previous lifetimes. If you associated with ritualistic devotees in previous lifetimes, then you in this lifetime may develop this Shastra Vishvasmaya Shraddha to a large extent, and be more or less fixed up in your determination to follow the Vaidhi marg. Whereas if you had in previous lifetimes more association with Rasik Vaishnavas, then your natural receptivity toward the attractiveness of Krishna and the message of unalloyed devotional service in Krishna consciousness, will engender what would be called as Lobhamaya Shraddha. And that Lobhamaya Shraddha means that there's Shraddha which is based on greed to attain something that you've seen that you are attracted to. In other words, you have high estimation towards something that is very attractive and wonderful, and that has more or less lured you to go beyond whatever would stand in your way to attain. So therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that the difference between the Vaidhi Marg and the Rag Marg is that the Vaidhi Marg is very weak, whereas the Rag Marg is very strong, in that by Vaidhi Marg, on account of the fact that you're lacking the attraction to the actual objective, you're only adhering to the principles of bhakti, Sravanam, Kirtanam, etc., due to your fear of falling back into Maya. Whereas in the Ragma, and he says that it will be a very long time and laborious process by the Vaidhi, by following the Vaidhi Marg, to come from the stage of Shraddha to the stage of Bhava. And not only that, but the Bhava which is realized by doing the Vaidhi Bhakti is different from the Bhava which is realized, because you end up with a ritualistic form of Bhava, or what is called Maryada Bhakti, or Aishwarya Gyanmayi Bhakti, whereas in the Rag Marg, because of the force of attraction, the magnetism that one experiences in coming in contact with Krishna's subject matter, which is attracting your heart, when that greed evolves in your heart, then naturally you don't want anything to come between you and your objective, and you can very quickly progress through the stages. And this is described in Vishwanath's Ragvartma Chandrika. It's a very important book to read also. That you very quickly progress through the stages of anartha and vritti, to nishta. So it means that...
Is that book downstairs?
It could be. There's one book called Bhakti Trilogy. That may be... I think that includes Ragvartma Chandrika.
I just wonder how far, if I have to go... where to get these books. If they're downstairs, it's easy. Otherwise,
I can give them to you electronically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have all these books.
Okay.
How much space do you have?
I don't know. Delete whatever you need. There's nothing that's really important there.
I have tons of books.
Well, these ones that you're talking about, that aren't, what do I have? There's some on the folio. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is there.
Yeah.
But I have Chaitanya Shikshamrita, and I have Vishwanath, I have commentary on the 10th canto. That one. But these other ones that you mentioned, I don't have.
But anyway, just to wrap up the discussion a little bit, we can do this in a minute. The point being that in Nectar Devotion, in the next chapter called Spontaneous Devotional Service Further Explained, there's no mistake as such, where they're misusing or let's say improperly using the word Raganuga. It's just that in the previous chapter you've read the word Raganuga. There's 6 times the word Raganuga is used, so you get this idea. So when you get to the next chapter, you're wondering what are we talking about here, because he's using the same word Raganuga to refer to something which is of a different nature, and then you're thinking that he must be talking about Raganuga. This is Raganuga as it applies to what must be relative to the term Raganuga used in the previous chapter, and then you're totally confused. But
those are supposed to be Ragatmika?
Huh?
It's supposed to be Ragatmika.
It's supposed to be Ragatmika.
Have they fixed that? They're
No,
making all
they
these
haven't.
changes.
They had done all these changes. I brought this mistake to the attention of Dhanadhar Maharaj, who brought it to the attention of Jayadvaita Maharaj, and it's still not changed. Why it's still not changed? You know, it's probably just because they're using it as a way of smoke screening in order to keep people at bay.
It's criminal.
It is criminal. It's totally confused the masses of devotees about the subject matter. I mean, I wish we could sit longer. You know, maybe, I don't know if you have time tomorrow, but maybe we can, and I can show you. You know, I can show you Banu Maharaj's translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and where the word Ragatmika, I first discovered it many years ago when I read Ban Maharaj's translation. And in Ban Maharaj's translation, the word Ragatmika is used. And then I said, well, wait a minute. And then I went back to Prabhupada's, and then I saw that there was a misuse of the terminology. And then I said, that's where all the confusion is coming from. Because devotees, I mean, when I first joined the movement, we were reading, you know, we would have Bhagavatam class, and during breakfast we would read Nectar of Devotion. It was back in 1973 when I joined. Bhagavatam class, Nectar Devotion during breakfast prasad. And then we'd come back and have Bhagavad Gita class, and then we would read Krishna book, you know, as we sat around drinking hot milk at night.